In this module, we shall learn about microwave spectroscopy. In this branch of spectroscopy, rotational transitions are observed. And you should be able to interpret rotational spectra, get information about molecular dimensions and atomic masses. Coming to the introduction, like electronic energy levels that you have read about in atomic spectroscopy, the rotational energy levels are also quantized. This means that when transitions occur between these energy levels, absorption and emission of radiation can take place, leading to discrete lines in the spectra. Now, when this absorption or emission of radiation takes place, you will get a microwave spectrum, and this will depend upon the rotational energy of this particular molecule. This means that when transitions occur between these energy levels, absorption and emission of radiation can take place, leading to discrete lines in the spectra. Since the energy levels are relatively close to each other, the absorptions and emissions fall in the low energy microwave region. For this reason, rotational spectroscopy is also known as microwave spectroscopy. Next, we talk about rotational spectra. First thing we do is we solve the Schrodinger equation, and the rotational Schrodinger equation gives the allowed energy levels as E as a function of j is equal to B into j plus 1, where B is a quantity which is known as the rotational constant and j is the rotational quantum number, and this rotational quantum number can take on all positive integer values even including 0. The rotational constant B has the dimension of energy, and in SI units it is joule. It is expressed as B is equal to h cross square divided by 2I, and h cross, as you know, is h by 2 pi, and I is the moment of inertia of the molecule. The moment of inertia is in turn equal to mu into r square, where mu is the reduced mass of the molecule and r is the internuclear distance. Like other transitions, rotational transitions are also governed by selection rules. For a transition from a state with rotational quantum number j double prime, now it is usual to write down the ground state with a double prime and the excited state with a single prime. So, this rotational transition is from j double prime to j prime. The transition dipole moment is given by the integral of the triple product. The first term is the rotational quantum number of the excited state, its wave function. The second term is the dipole moment operator, and the third term is the wave function of the ground state, and this is integrated over all space. The dipole moment operator in this case is mu 0, which is the permanent dipole moment of the molecule, because as you know, rotation does not change the dipole moment. So, if the molecule has a permanent dipole moment, that is a constant, and this comes out of the integral sign. Now, this means that since the intensity of a transition is proportional to the square of the transition dipole moment, that means that if mu 0 is equal to 0, that transition is not allowed, and if the dipole moment is small, the intensity of the transition is small. So, it is obvious that molecules that do not possess a dipole moment do not exhibit rotational spectra. That means they cannot interact with microwave radiation and increase or decrease their rotational energy. They are said to be microwave inactive. Examples are all homonuclear diatomic molecules, because they do not have a dipole moment. Hydrogen, H2, N2, O2, F2, none of them has a dipole moment, and none of them will exhibit a microwave spectrum. Also, all tetrahedral, symmetrical tetrahedral and symmetrical octahedral molecules such as methane, carbon tetrachloride, which are tetrahedral, SF6, which is octahedral, they are also microwave inactive. And also other symmetrical molecules like benzene. Benzene also has a center of symmetry, so it does not have a dipole moment, so that is also microwave inactive. But molecules like water, which have a dipole moment, they are microwave active. The oven that you use, the microwave oven, that operates at the microwave rotational frequency of water, and that is why, because water is microwave active, it is able to excite the rotational energy of water molecules, and these will heat up the sample of food and it will get cooked. We will take up an example. We will look at the molecules H2NO, N2O and see which one of these has a pure rotational spectrum. H2 does not have a dipole moment because it is a homonuclear diatomic molecule. NO is a heteronuclear diatomic molecule, so it has a dipole moment. N2O is also unsymmetrical. The bonding in N2O is NNO. That means that it doesn't have a dipole moment, and so it will show a rotational spectrum. It will be microwave active. We'll take up another example. Which one of these molecules will show a pure rotational, that is microwave spectrum? Methane. Methane we have already discussed, it is a symmetrical tetrahedral molecule, so it does not have a dipole moment, it is microwave inactive. CH3Cl is also a tetrahedral molecule, but one of the CH bonds is replaced by Cl, so that what you get is an unsymmetrical molecule with a dipole moment, and that is why it is microwave active. Similarly, CH2Cl2 is also a tetrahedral molecule. These two hydrogens are replaced by two chlorine atoms, and that is why you get a molecule which is CH2Cl2, which is unsymmetrical and has a dipole moment. Ethylene, on the other hand, is a symmetrical molecule because it has a center of symmetry, and so it does not have any dipole moment, and so it is microwave inactive. Benzene again is microwave inactive because it has a center of symmetry. And finally, we have SF6, which we have already said is an octahedral molecule, and that is why it is microwave inactive because it has a center of symmetry. So now we can state the Gauss selection rule. For rotational spectra, the Gauss selection rule is all molecules that do not possess a dipole moment, permanent dipole moment, are microwave inactive. Now, even those molecules that possess a permanent dipole moment, there are certain other conditions for a microwave spectrum to be seen, and this is the second selection rule. All transitions are not allowed. When you do detailed calculations using quantum mechanics, putting in the exact wave functions and so on, and using the wave function of the rotational wave functions, what you get is that the selection rule is delta J is equal to plus or minus 1. This selection rule is similar to the delta L is equal to plus minus 1 selection rule that you found in atomic spectroscopy. And this is again due to the conservation of angular momentum, the requirement of the conservation of angular momentum. The photon has an intrinsic angular momentum of 1 unit. If the molecule absorbs a photon, its angular momentum of the molecule will be raised by 1, emits a photon, it will be decreased by 1, and that is why the selection rule is delta J is equal to plus minus 1. Absorption of or emission of one photon can therefore increase or decrease the rotational quantum number by 1 unit only. Now, first we will consider absorption spectra, because microwave spectroscopy is usually observed as absorption spectra. The energy of the photon that is absorbed is obviously the difference in energies between these two states, and if you substitute the energy of the J plus first level minus the energy of the Jth level, because the transition is from J to J plus 1, you find that the spacing between energy levels is equal to 2b into J plus 1. So, this is shown in figure 1, where we have shown the rotational energy levels and the possible transitions between them. For J is equal to 0, the rotational energy is equal to 0. When J is equal to 1, the energy is equal to 2b, and similarly as you keep on going up, J is equal to 2, it is equal to 2 into 3, or that is 6b, and for J is equal to 3, it is 3 into 4 or 12b. Now, rotational transitions can only take place between adjacent levels, and you find that the first transition will be at 2b, the second will be at 6b minus 2b, which is at 4b, the next will be minus 12 minus 6b, which will be at 6b. So, you find that you will get a series of lines, and the spacing between these lines will be 2b, from which the rotational constant can be determined. So, the lowest value of the rotational quantum number is 0, and absorption of a photon can take the molecule to the J is equal to 1 level, resulting in absorption of a photon of energy 2b. The next transition is J is equal to 1 to 2 transition, and this will occur at 4b. Subsequent lines are observed at 6b, 8b, 10b, etc. Rotational spectra should therefore consist of equally spaced lines with spacing of 2b between them, from which the rotational constant can be obtained. So, before we discuss the utility of this information, let us first look at the appearance of the spectra. We've already said that you will get lines spaced by 2b. What is the intensity of these lines and how does the spectrum look like? So, the next topic that we are going to take up is the appearance of rotational spectra. In every kind of spectroscopy, this is what we are going to do. As you saw, we first solved the classical equation, then we put in all quantum mechanical aspects into that equation, solved it, got the energy levels, looked at the selection rules, and then we decided what the spectrum is going to look like. After the selection rules, the next important consideration is the relative populations of the various energy levels, because if there is no molecule in any particular energy level, obviously a transition will not take place from that particular energy level. We have already seen that rotational energy spacings are small, and so a number of rotational energy levels are occupied at room temperature. Since delta E rotation is much smaller than kBT, kB is the Boltzmann constant and T is the absolute temperature expressed in Kelvin, and this is the thermal energy. So, obviously, if the molecules do not have enough thermal energy to go to the next energy level, they cannot go, but in this case the energy levels are closer together, and compared to the thermal energy, many of these energy levels are occupied. At room temperature, the value of kBT is approximately of the order of 4 into 10 raised power of minus 21 joule, while rotational energy spacings are much smaller, they are of the order of 10 raised power of minus 23 joules. According to the Boltzmann distribution, the ratio of populations of the excited and ground state is given by the Boltzmann distribution law, and this says that Nj by N0 is proportional to exponential of minus difference between the two energy levels divided by kBT, and this has to be multiplied by Gj, which is the degeneracy of the jth energy level. Now, why have we introduced a new concept, that of the degeneracy? If there are, for example, 3 energy levels of the same energy, they will all have a population given by the Boltzmann law, and because this energy level has a degeneracy of 3, you have to multiply by 3. The ground state, the degeneracy is equal to 1. So, I am not dividing by the ground state, otherwise you have to divide by the degeneracy of the ground state, and Ej is the energy difference between the jth level and the j is equal to 0 level, which is equal to Ej, since the j is equal to 0 level has 0 energy. Recall that the energy is equal to B into j plus 1. So, if j is equal to 0, the energy is also equal to 0. Now, there are two opposite factors operating here. One is the rapid linear increase in the degeneracy, because the degeneracy of a jth energy level is given by 2j plus 1. That means, with increasing j, there is a linear increase. For j is equal to 0, the degeneracy is 1. For j is equal to 1, it is 3. J is equal to 2, it is 5. It keeps on increasing very fast with j, and this is a linear effect. The second is that there is an exponential decrease in the population with increasing j, because as there is a minus sign before the exponential term, and so the population keeps on decreasing. So, whenever you have two opposing effects, what you should expect is that the population will initially increase because Gj effect will be larger, and then it will start decreasing because the second factor will start dominating, and that is why it will go through a maximum and then decrease. So, as shown in figure, there is an initial increase in the population as j increases, and then because of the domination of the second effect, the exponential factor, what you see is that there is a decrease, and that means it goes through a maximum at a particular value of j. And you can find out what is this particular value of j, because you know how to find out the position of a maximum. It is the point at which the derivative of the curve is equal to 0, because it is a maximum. So, we can analytically derive an expression for j max, which is the symbol we have given to the value of j which has the most populated state. So, when you do that, what you find is that j max is equal to square root of kb into t divided by 2b, and this whole minus half, and obviously since j cannot take on values which are not whole numbers, you look for the nearest whole number to find out what is the value of j max. So, here are some examples. you find the ratio of the number Nj to N0 of molecules in a sample of Hi at first at 300 K and then at 1000 K, and we have given the rotational quantum number J is equal to 5 and J is equal to 0, and I value is also given, which is given as 4.31 into 10 raised power of minus 47 kg meter square. Notice that it is mu r square, mu is expressed in kg because it is a reduced mass, and r square will be meter square in SI units. We want to find out the value of J at the maximum Nj at these two temperatures. So, first we substitute T is equal to 300 K and you find that the population is a fraction 0.584. At 1000 Kelvin, you find that the population has grown, it has become 0.796. And the second is that you want to find out the J max value. You find at 300 K it turns out to be 4 because you find it is equal to 3.5 and the nearest whole number is 4. At 1000 K the J max value turns out to be 6.8 and the nearest whole number is 7. So, what we find is that at 300 K the J max value was equal to 4, but at 1000 K, which is a higher temperature, it has moved to 7. So, we can say that J max moves to a higher value when the temperature is raised, and the intensities of the spectral lines therefore depend on the temperature. We take up another example, the moment of inertia of the HCl molecule, and here we have specified that it is 35 chlorine. It is 2.644 into 10 raised power of minus 47 kg meter square. Remember that the moments of inertia are of this order, 10 raised power of minus 46 or 10 raised power of minus 47, and you are asked to prepare a relative population curve Nj by N0 versus J for HCl at 300 K and at 1000 K. So, what you find is Nj by N0 is equal to 2J plus 1 exponential. You put in the value and you can plot the graph, and you find that it goes through a maximum at a lower value of J at the lower temperature, but it goes to a maximum at a higher value of J at a higher temperature, as we had already discovered before. So, the rotational energy of the level which has the highest population you can find out by finding out the energy of the J max level, and when you substitute that value you find that it is equal to Kb T, which is the thermal energy, divided by 2, half of that, minus B by 4. Now, your B, the rotational constants are very small, and that means that Kbt by 2 is much larger than B by 4, and so we can ignore the next term, and what you find is that the average energy of the most populated level is equal to Kb by 2, that is half the thermal energy. Then there is another factor. Besides population, the other factor that governs the intensity maximum is the magnitude of the rotational constant B. Since it appears in the exponential term, if it is larger, there will be a faster exponential decay because the exponential term has a minus sign before it. So, here is another example. What is the value of J in the most highly populated rotational level of ICl molecule at room temperature, and the rotational constant is given now as 0.114 centimeter inverse, that means it is in wave number units. And since this wave number unit you can obtain by finding out B by Hc, the expression for the most populated level becomes J max, you substitute the value square root of Kbt divided by 2B bar Hc and the whole thing minus half, and when you substitute all the values, what you find is that J max turns out to be 29.65 and the nearest whole number is 30. So, what you have found is that here the rotational constant was different and you got a different value of J max. We notice that the J max value is extremely large because the rotational constant is extremely small in this case. Now, why it is small you can easily see. ICl is a molecule with a large reduced mass, so its moment of inertia is also very large, and since it is appearing in the denominator, its rotational constant is very small. So, finally, I will summarize whatever we have learnt in this module. Pure rotational transitions are observed in the microwave region. as we have seen, because the energy gaps are small. There are two selection rules governing rotational transitions. There is a gross selection rule which states that the molecule must possess a permanent dipole moment, and the second selection rule is that the rotational quantum number must change only by 1 unit. The absorption spectrum gives rise to a spectrum containing lines with spacing equal to twice the rotational constant, which enables us to learn about the value of the rotational constant. And because of the small spacing, many of the rotational states are occupied at room temperature. The degeneracy of an energy level increases linearly with J, but the population decreases with increasing J. As a result, the population goes through a maximum at some particular value of J. The rotational level having the largest population shifts to higher J values when the temperature is raised. It also depends on the value of the rotational constant. Smaller the rotational constant, larger will be the J max value.